I'm probably not going to stay that long.
Yes, you started to talk exactly at the moment that we went live. So we're live, and the first thing the people will hear is you telling them that you're not going to stay very long.
Well, it's the truth, you know.
Well, let's see how it goes. Welcome, everyone. Now, today's stream is going to be about Project Fear, things to be afraid of. And we're going to start talking in a moment because I think at this point in time there's just, well, the three of us being Real Raven and me. Oh, it's 5 already. I'm curious who else joined us. I'm not sure if Paolo and Ghost are still here. I'm not sure if Nick is still here. These were people who were in the stream a moment ago as well. But that was before we went live. Do me a favor, and if you are here, say something in the chat, because I'm also trying to test something out. What are you testing out? Well, and I have to check here. I'm kind of trying to see if, how do you call it? I put in the chat in the, how do you call it? In the video itself. Why did I do that? Well, that's something I am going to talk about. Zombie Apocalypse
awesome.
Snow Day. The reason
Because it's awesome.
No, not just because it's awesome. A lot of people might not know this, and I'm pretty sure I didn't know this, but not too long ago, Michael Keller got reported, and he got a 5-day ban, and that report happened during a stream of mine. Well, I have to rephrase that. It didn't happen during the stream of mine, but he got reported in the stream of mine. But we're not sure when. The thing is, you can report someone from the chat after the stream has ended. And because that's possible, I want to put the chat in the stream now, because from the stream you can't. And then when people replay this hangout, you're not going to see the chat, because the chat will only be visible during the stream. That's what I'm hoping to do anyway.
You have a setting to hide it, yeah?
I hope so. I haven't really looked into that much, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping it'll do. And if it does, that's a good thing, because that's what I want. I don't want people to be able to report other people retrospectively. Hi there, Toxic. Hi there, Green Badger. And John just woke up, so he might join us in a moment. He'll probably just be in the chat, though. He's more than welcome in the chat, let's be honest. Yeah, so if everything is well, people should be able to see the chat in the window thingy, which is all right
Looks
anyway.
like it.
Yeah.
There's some latency, as usual.
And yeah, there is lots of latency, obviously.
It's not bad. It's only 4 or 5 seconds, or maybe 10.
It's half a minute for me. And I'm
Really?
not even sure why. But yeah, that's how it is.
Well, I mean, you're the one who's filming it, so you see it instantly, right? You film it in OBS or something.
And well, I'm not filming it. It's broadcasting, so everything that goes in goes out right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the chat will now be in the stream. I hope to be able to do this in the future as well.
I think it's great.
The chat, when you rewatch the stream, the chat will be disabled. Because as I said, apparently someone can report
Weaponize it.
No, you can go into a random stream, click on someone randomly, and report that person, and that person will get a ban.
Also randomly.
So I don't want that to happen to the people who are watching on my stream.
It's kind of crazy that they do these measures, you know.
Yeah.
Just from one band, from one person can. It's like snitch culture, you know. It's like it reminds me of the German Democratic Republic.
Yeah. Well,
That's what
it is. But this is unfortunately the ideology that the left has given us.
You know, it's quite nice. I know the guys on the thing can't see it, but we both have our cameras on, so I can actually see Modwayne talking, which is a nice change. It makes it a
Yes.
little more animated and less anonymous.
For us, but not for them, because we're not doing that live.
Yeah, no, they'll have
Maybe,
to just
maybe in the
make
future. Maybe in the
sexy
future.
voices.
But for the time being, you'll have to content with the deepness of my voice.
Exactly.
And hi there. Did I say hi there, Green Badger already? I hope I did. If I didn't, hi there, Green Badger. Hi there, Ludicrous. If you think the coronavirus is bad, just wait for the Guinness bug. Listen, Corona is terrible, but at least it's drinkable.
Oh, talking about drinkable water, we got ours tested and it's perfect.
We were talking
Bacteria
about drinkable
free.
water. We were talking about Corona and what's that?
Well, I was thinking
Guinness.
about water anyway.
Ah, okay.
And viruses and the lack thereof, you know, there's also good news. It's not just bad news.
Okay.
It's kind of funny because I had a musician in yesterday and he said, oh, he doesn't drink the tap water, you know, he doesn't like the taste of fluoride. And I said, like, which fluoride? What are you talking about? I got my own water. No fluoride.
No fluoride.
No that shit. The perks of living on the land.
Yes. I am, in a way, I am a little bit jealous. I would like to have a nice piece of land, to be honest. But in the Netherlands, everything is so fucking expensive.
Mm.
According to the government,
Yeah.
my house is valued at 175,000 euro. Which,
The thing is, I mean, my house, we got it before the bubble, but the house costs less than the site that it's on right now, you know, so it's crazy how the prices have exploded.
yeah. Well, prices always go up. But in the Netherlands, prices go up because a lot of... If a house like this goes for sale, then there's a good chance that the house buyer will be how do you call them? People who rent out houses. Because if I buy this house, I'm paying like 400-500 euro a month in mortgage. But to rent a house like this, it's almost double.
How much? Is it to rent a house like that in
This
a month?
house to rent, you can pay up to 900 euro, no problem.
But that's not even much for a house. Like in Galway, you know, my
It
daughter,
is-
she wanted,
in the Netherlands, it is.
like you'd pay like 1,500 for a room, you know?
Yeah, in major cities perhaps, but
Yeah, yeah.
my city isn't a major. Well, yeah, it is a bit. Okay, fair enough.
It's semi-major.
Major, yeah, semi-major. It's one of the big cities of the Netherlands, but it's not the biggest.
Are you in the suburbs or in the middle of it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Yeah, we're not gonna dox you tonight. I'd
No,
say.
no, that's not what I'm afraid of. I'm not far from the city center. So, but this is I don't think this is a suburb. No. I don't
Well,
think
then
this is a
that's
suburb.
what makes it expensive, you see.
Well, suburbs are more
I see.
expensive, aren't they? green and all
Not
that.
really. Not
Well, it
really. I
depends,
don't think
because
so. Closer you're to the center because you know people want the center because they just want to walk to work or you know maybe take a tram or something. You know they don't want.
fair enough. Well,
bullshit, you know?
I can't walk to the city center from here, but this has more to do with my overall health than with the distance. Because
Yeah,
when my health was
Get a
good, I
hover.
could easily walk it.
just get a hoverboard. In the
Damn
city.
you, Toxic. A quarter acre. Fucking hell. I have a house. I don't even have outside room. I don't have a
That's an
garden or
American
anything
acre.
like
That's an American acre. That's probably like double the size from a continental acre.
that. I don't know, but
I've-
it's still 100 times as much as what I have, and 1,000 times as much as I have. A million.
I
have nothing,
I have-
so.
I had a 0.3 acre site with the house, but I got the field behind it, and now I have 1.6 acre, and the field cost me £3,000.
Fucking hell. See, I seriously need to win the lottery so I can move house.
Should have had more money back then.
No, I probably wouldn't go to Ireland because Ireland is
Shithole.
it is a shithole. Yeah.
It is. Well, at least out in the country, it's very, very, countryish.
But
But it's lovely in the summer.
this is kind of what I wanted to talk about, because we are influenced in the Western world constantly by Project Fear. Now, Project Fear, last week, I think it was last week, we talked about oikophobia. And Project Fear is kind of like oikophobia. Now, I'm using the term Project Fear, and people who were invested in the Brexit movement will say, well, yeah, but that was Brexit. And I'm going to say, yeah, they call that Project Fear. But what I'm talking about is the overarching concept of it. Because, yes, during the Brexit, there was Project Fear trying to tell people how terrible the world was and whatnot, and how they should stay in Europe, because if they wouldn't, the lives would end and all that. But there are several topics within Project Fear that I mean. Because we are being scared to do what they want. Fear somehow has become a tool of the powers that be, the media, the politicians, whomever wants to control us, to get us to do what they want. And I don't understand why this is happening, because, let's be honest, most of us heard something like what I'm going to say next whilst growing up. There is no worse advisor than fear. But somehow we are being pushed to be afraid continuously. I mean, let's be honest. If we look at the coronavirus at this point in time, and I'm going to share the video. No, not video. I'm going to share the screen. Let me get this ready. I'm really not good at this, because I really. There you go. Then you.
Before you played, just a little comment that came to me. There's one big thing with you displaying the chat live. People have to behave.
No,
Because
I don't-
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as message deleted. It's gonna be on screen forever.
I don't care.
I know. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's just if you shit talk on here, we'll have it on screen. Even if you delete it.
Through that, we can. But let's be honest. The chat usually was next to the stream anyway, so we could We could always display it. No,
Yeah.
the chat in screen is basically to protect.
You know what really bugs me? That application that you just brought up there on screen. I tried to load that the other night on my phone, right? And I'm a real retard when it comes to these things. So I had this thing up, and look at the dots for Ireland. I thought, oh, we probably have 60 cases. We're 21, but there was 2 dots on it, right? 2 red dots in Ireland, and I thought that was where the cases were. But apparently, somebody had entered the number twice, once for Ireland and then again for Republic of Ireland, and the dot is basically just in the middle of the country. It's not a location at all.
Yeah, no, it's
and
not
I thought,
location.
oh,
It's not a
that's what we
location.
we
But
we want the other up with the dots.
well, yeah, I'm sorry. This is what I have.
How many do we have? 42. Wow, it's doubled. That's not good. It's doubled in 3 days.
In 3 days. That's not
Yeah.
a lot, to be honest. Because I can still remember that when they first started talking about it, they were talking about how it would spread like an oil, blah, 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 and terrible, and okay.
Yeah.
But if we look at it now, come on. Why aren't you working? Province, state, country. Why aren't you working? Maybe reload, see if that'll make the card look better. There you have it. At this point in time, Italy is the biggest hit zone in the world.
Yep. There's a big dot there.
Yeah. And
Can't even see the.
so this is it.
Oh yeah.
Now, one of
Looks
the reasons why Italy has been hit so hard is because people were asked to stay inside, to quarantine themselves, and people kind of ignore that. They still do. So yeah, there is that. But if we look at Italy and if we look at China, you can see it here. Right? China's up top. China has already started to top off. They don't
You know
get a
what?
lot of new cases apparently.
You know what, Modwayne? You know
Yes.
what? This completely goes with my theory that I had like 2 or 3 weeks ago. The coronavirus will actually punish people who are not system conform, you know, or who do not obey the suggestions or the guidelines of the government. If you say, "Oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to stay in quarantine. I'm not going to turn myself in or whatever," then you freaking die.
No, actually, that's not true. Because young people may spread the disease but might not get sick. It's older people that are at risk. And it's kind of funny because if we look at the overall numbers, and I'm showing you China at this point in time, they had 3,000 deaths. And people at the beginning were talking, oh no, it has a huge kill rate. And first it was like 50%, and then it became 20%. At this point in time, China has a death rate of about 5%. Now that is
It's
still
still high,
high.
though.
Don't get me wrong, it is. Compared to a flu, it definitely is. But we don't know how many people die in China because of the common flu.
But would they be in that number? Is it not? I thought it's corona. That's people who are infected by coronavirus, whether they're killed by a heart.
No. What you're seeing here, this is the number confirmed. These are the numbers that have died, and these are the numbers that have recovered. And when you look
Can't
at,
see your cursor. Sorry,
I'm sorry, I have to.
but I don't think that would be in sync anyway. So I think the chat can see it. Oh no, I see you're on China now. Yeah. All right. So, oh yeah, highlighted. So you got the total deaths 3,161.
Yeah, and the total recovery is 61,000.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know the death rate of a disease until it
Yeah.
ran out. Because if, for example, I go to the Netherlands, and this is silly, but come on, where are you? Oh,
Probably scrolled down.
we went up. We were at slightly below 400. We're now at 500 cases.
Yeah. Well, then you're not growing as fast as we.
Probably, but
Only like a 15% increase.
five
20.
people have already died, but no one has yet recovered because the disease hasn't been hit.
It's
that
too
long.
early.
It's too
Yeah.
early. Now,
Or
if it's-
maybe the Dutch people doctors are more cautious with reporting. You know, how do you know when somebody has recovered? How do you know that?
well, that's another thing because there have been people that have been stated to have recovered, but then they got fallen-
Relapsed.
Yeah, they relapsed. So yeah, that is possible. But at this point in time in the Netherlands, we have 500 cases. 5 people died, so that's 1%.
1%.
It's
Yeah,
still a
that's
lot.
good.
It's still a lot, but
Yeah, it's not too
all of the
bad
people,
though.
no, all of the people that died were with their own health issues. But
I say that's
don't-
another thing. What's it with the flu? Is it a similar, or is it a bit
no,
smaller?
the flu is far smaller. Flu death count is about 0.01%.
Really?
Yeah.
That low?
Well, it's still high
Well-
considering because a flu wave.
I don't know.
If a
I
flu
think-
wave hits the Netherlands, that's going to be 500,000 people sick.
But
At
the
least.
thing with the flu is a lot of people say it's flu, but it's not really flu. It's Grippala effect, which is just like you have flu-like symptoms. But when
Yes.
you have the real flu, man, you're flat out. You know, you got aching all over the body. You know,
Well,
That-
yes,
that's
but
proper flu. You know.
the thing is with flu, and this is probably true for the coronavirus. I haven't been able to confirm it's not. The thing you die of may be caused by corona. The thing you die of may be caused by
Another
flu,
disease.
but you die of respiratory failure. Respiratory failure.
Yeah.
My English is.
Is
sorry.
that so? Yeah, well, okay. Only respiratory failure. So it's usually, I thought it was usually if you had pneumonia or something like that, then that could get really bad.
Yeah.
You know, you get that on top.
Well, but
So-
that's one of the reasons why so many old people die because they often have heart problems, lung problems already. Well, yeah, if you can count those things as well, yeah, that's going to be a bitch.
Yeah.
Let me see. 2 confirmed cases, 2 active. Okay. Well. Back to the Netherlands. No recoveries yet. So, in the Netherlands, at least 5 more people need to die if no one else gets the disease just to reach a 10% death rate.
No, 2%.
2%?
Yeah, you said you had 5 deaths out of 500. That's 1%.
Oh,
5 more
right.
die. That's doubling it.
You're right. Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
And I think 2% would already be on the way to being high. Let's say 4 to 5%. That's really high. That's higher than SARS level. You
Yeah.
know, that's quite high.
Well, if we look at Italy at this point in time had 800 deaths and only 1,000 recoveries. So this
But how many?
There's still 10,000 active cases.
But, okay, how many infected did they have?
That's why I'm saying 10,000.
No. Yeah, active, but you have to count all infected.
Oh,
over
you
the whole time.
mean the ones that aren't sick but are carrying?
No. I'm saying even you have to count the recovered, the ones that are infected, etc. You know, the whole. Is it the 12,000? That's maybe the whole number. Is it the 12,000?
12,000 is the total cases. And out of
Okay.
the 12,000, 800 have already died.
So, what's that? Let me calculate that.
And 1,000 have already recovered.
12,000. Let me see. 800 divided by 12,400.
Yeah, but now you're making a mistake because you're calculating the survival rate or the death rate based on the maximum amount of people that got sick. But
Yeah.
you can only calculate the survival rate based on how many people got it, and once they got over it, are still alive or are dead.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is that the number? Confirmed cases 12,000.
Yeah,
Is that not the number? No. The 12,000.
yeah,
That's the number.
12,462.
Yeah. So that's 6.4%. That's a very bad rate then. 6.4% dying. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
But the question is why? Now Italy is
Bad health system.
I don't understand. Probably, but Italy is a Western world country as well, so they should have a decent health system. But yeah, a lot of old people, and in case of Italy, I remember reading that the first person that got the disease and died from it was an Afghan refugee, or
Right.
Afghan immigrant, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe his health was already deteriorated. Maybe he didn't go looking for financial aid, medical aid. I don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about the whole
And then
thing.
there is, I don't know how seriously Italian people take the flu. I mean, I think that a lot of continental people do a lot of prevention and they get flu shots and stuff, you know, so they're
Yeah.
kind of aware and they try not to get it. They have like a hygiene, let's say, that prevents them from getting these diseases because they take them more seriously. You know, especially like in Germany where you have like minus 20, 25 degrees centigrade. In winter, you don't want to catch such a thing. You
Yeah.
really make sure you're not
And
like.
I think Paolo wants to tell me that Italy doesn't have decent healthcare. I thought it did, Paolo, but okay, you're closer than I am. But yeah, if we look at other countries, if we look, for example, at the United Kingdom and the Dutch healthcare system are pretty much the same. They already have 8 deaths. So that's pretty
Who's that?
high.
Who?
The UK.
UK.
But as far as I know, all of them are elderly people with multiple diagnoses. So
Eight.
the coronavirus might be the thing that pushed them over the edge.
No, it's not much. It's 1.7%.
Sorry?
The 8 deaths is not much.
Yeah, but I mean, you're assuming no one else will die.
Yeah. This is the current count. I can't. I
Yes,
can't.
so
look
you
into the
can't
future.
put the
You know,
calculation.
obviously it's not fair. I mean, we will the numbers in China. If the numbers were correct, that's the other question. Does China lie? You know, but if the numbers were correct, then they're a lot more stable because they already have it a couple of weeks,
Well,
whereas
that
in
too.
UK
But
they have it.
if we look at
You know,
China,
longer. You
we're
know,
looking at
it
the
will
death.
accumulate.
We're looking at the death to recovery rate. That's
All right.
the
Yeah.
death to
But
recovery.
I
The
don't.
people who
I don't
died.
give a shit. I
won't
don't believe
recover.
in recovery. I don't believe that there's such a thing as recovery. You know, I don't think that's a thing. You know, not with a slow infectious disease that takes 14 days to manifest. You know, there's no such thing as
Yeah,
like.
no, there can be recovery. Now, I don't know enough about the
Yeah.
coronavirus, but the coronavirus is basically a mutated version of the SARS virus. And it's not a naturally mutated version, by the way. More and more evidence comes out that it has been a manipulated SARS virus, but it's a SARS virus. So yeah, there is that. But yeah, no, you look at the total deaths compared to the total recoveries, because in 3,000 plus 61,000, so in 60, let's say 65,000 people, the sickness in the China has run to its end.
China. 49,000 recovered out of 80. So there's more than 50% who have
All right.
already recovered.
Yeah, no, but
I think that's a good ratio. You know, if
But
you
you
look
need
at
to-
recovery
you need
versus
to look at
infection.
you need to look at death and recovery.
Yeah.
And between that's the ratio you're looking at.
Okay.
So we're still talking about nearly 10%. Well, it's a little less than 10%. It's,
Okay, so you're basically comparing the really unlucky cases with the really lucky ones.
No.
Death and recovery.
no. We're comparing the cases for the ones where the sickness has run its course. Now, the
Okay.
sickness will run its course, and there are only two options when the sickness has run its course. You recover or you die.
Yeah, or you have it chronically.
No, you can't have it chronically.
Okay.
Or
all
at
right.
least that's not what we're seeing now. I mean, who knows?
See, I don't know enough about it. I mean, obviously, flu, you get over it as well, right? In summer, it usually goes away. And there's
Yeah.
this hope that it may get a lot weaker in summer, you know, with the warm
Well,
temperatures.
It's like most viruses. It requires air humidity to survive in. And so there is that. And I'm not sure if it will die in heat or in cold, because every virus has its own. This is something we don't know yet. But another thing that we do know is where most viruses are being, you catch them by breathing them in. This virus can also be caught by picking it up. For example, if water droplets hit your eye.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that is
Drop infection. Yeah, it's pretty infectious.
yeah, it's quite infectious. So okay, but this is one thing of Project Fear. Everyone keeps telling you, "Oh, look at the world. Oh, we're all going to die." Yeah, you know what? 80,000 confirmed cases in China. In a country with what? Almost 2 billion people? 80,000 in 2 billion isn't a lot.
True.
So
If it, you know, if the curve flattens off now, I mean, it looked like it was going exponential for a while, and okay, they're very strict now with their quarantine method. You
what I
know,
heard about China is that it's flattening off.
it looks like it.
So and yeah, in the rest of the world, we're now, for example, in the Netherlands, yeah, we're now picking up because it just started not too long ago.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a problem.
it
So
is.
how far will it go in the Netherlands? I don't know. We will see. But we're being forced to be afraid. Are you afraid yet? You should be afraid, because look at that. 3,000 people have died. Okay. How many people have died in China in the Wuhan province from car accidents?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting number. I mean, we were thinking of going down to Cork for the weekend, and we were kind of also debating a little bit. The main thing is like whether you should go to a hotel or a B&B, with a lot of people. But it's still early days there. It'd be very, very unlikely that somebody passed through. But yeah,
Well,
you never know. You can be unlucky.
yeah, you
I
can be
guess like.
unlucky.
I guess if I get it, I get it. I'll have to stay home. And just I have no problems with self quarantining. I mean, when you get the flu, you're not going out and go party and whatnot.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's just a
But
different
okay,
kind.
so now we looked at the Corona um, fear project. Another fear project we have a lot is the gun
But
violence.
what is this Project Fear though? It's also an institution, is it not?
It's not an institution. Let's go to this one. Project Fear is a term that was used in English politics to try and fear people into voting the way the powers that be wanted you to vote. And hi there, Anxious Aussie. Nice of you to join around. But the concept of Project Fear is we're trying to use fear to make you do what we want you to do.
I think it's cut off a little bit. Oh no, it's fine. Sorry.
Yeah, it is a cut off a little bit, but yeah, there's only
No,
so
it's
much.
fine. It was cut off on the left-hand side. Now it's fine. I can see the beginning of it. It's fine.
I can make it a little bit smaller if you want to.
Yeah, make it smaller on the right-hand side, and then you should be fine. Instead of full screen mode, just pull it over, and then it should reflow.
Let's see.
Don't forget the latency.
There is that.
Are you just filming the one screen, or did you tell OBS? Did you break out the chat and told OBS to look for the window? I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's indeed set out in OBS.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in OBS. I have a specific window for the chat. So yeah, that was fun. Okay, so maybe the chat is easy to read now. Not the chat, sorry. Oh no, wait a second. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Because I put the chat in, everything has been a little bit fucked up. Not a big deal. So just a little bit. Is it still readable like
It's perfect.
this?
I'm in full screen mode now, but it's good.
Okay. Get my tongue.
No, sorry. You moved it to the left, but now it's cut off at the left again. You need to really make
I
narrow.
already changed that. Hi there,
Okay.
Ronovatio. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Just saw 2 suspected corona cases at my local medical. Can't say I'm impressed with the risk minimization measure I saw used. Well, that's the thing, though. We don't know. Well, actually, we do know how it's spreading, and it's really contagious. But at the same time, you can already have it and not know it, just like with normal flu. So there is that.
So is this really just a demagogic kind of term? This Project Fear. It looks like it was used in politics, and it could just be a smear.
Yes. No, it is a demagogic. Thank you. Yeah, it was used in the UK, but there are other things where it's being used in, and it's being used to tell people to think, act, and behave in a certain way. It is in a way political correctness, but now the enforcing side of political correctness. There are several ways that political correctness is enforcing itself, and this is one of the ways. So it's basically telling you to be afraid, to be very afraid. No, don't even think about how much afraid you have to be, because if you think about it, you're already too late. That's much fear you need to have. Reality be damned. And because you're constantly afraid, and very afraid, because you have to be very afraid, reality be damned, you all of a sudden stop thinking. Now, this is something, for example, Toxic, when we were talking about the coronavirus a little bit last week, Toxic already said, well, I'm completely ready to stay at home for the coming month if I have to. She wasn't afraid.
Yeah. She's a prepper. I mean, that's one of the things, one of the great things about the preppers. I mean, you may be over the top, or you may even be wrong or misguided, but you are active. You're not a victim. You know, you're actually proactive and active. You're not just reacting to something. You're actually preparing for action.
And
So you're doing something, you know.
I don't understand that people like to be afraid, but that's almost how it seems.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, they're like, I don't know, they wallow in it a lot of the time. I mean, the whole press seems to, it's just bad news is that's the best news, right? I don't know, there's a saying for it, right? Death cells or something like that. Good news for people who love bad news.
Well, and I didn't see that one. Toxic Thread. Toxic Thread basically said Asians are being told, sorry, it's racism because people don't go to Asian restaurants. And I'm like,
All
yeah,
right.
you can call everything racism if you want to. Oh, wait, they already do. Duh. And about Project Fear, Microsoft were often accused of using fear, uncertainty, and doubt to manipulate its customers, John just said. And indeed, that's the thing. It's a tool, and they use it more and more and more just to make you go in a certain direction. Because, for example, and this is another thing, now I'm not sure how well it shows on the screen because obviously I've been moving the screen around a bit. Yeah, that's what I feared. I have to do this again, for fuck's sake. I hate doing this. I should have prepared better. I always have to prepare better, but yeah, this is better. So, click, click, clack, clack, there you go. If I Google, no, not Google, DuckDuckGo gun kills, then the first thing we see, or at least I see, is the HuffPost telling us how we need to retire the guns don't kill people narrative. Because guns do kill people. You need to be afraid. Actually, guns do kill people. Debunking the guns don't kill people narrative. They all want you to be afraid of guns. But if we look at how many people have died by gunfire compared to other stuff, guns are no issue at all. I mean, they want to ban the AR-15. Well, okay, sounds terrible. AR-15. Well, it's almost a military grade weapon. No, it's not. But let's pretend that it is. How many people have died in America due to rifles? Well, about 400. You know what? Let's pretend all people that died from firearms related causes.
Were shot
So-
by AR.
No, let's all say it's one gun. They all fall under the same category. That's about 60,000 people. That includes gang violence. That includes homicide, targeted homicide. So you know who your killer is. That includes suicide. Suicide is about 10,000 of that 60,000. These are rather big numbers. Okay, how many people have died due to obesity-related health issues? Oh, well, yeah, that's a fraction of 10. More than 500,000 people in America have died because of obesity. But no one is telling us to be afraid of obesity. They're telling us to be afraid of guns, even though it's only a fraction of the problem obesity is. How many people have died to other health issues? Well, again, guns don't score that high. But they want you to be afraid of guns. Because they want you to start talking to your friends about how guns are a bad thing. And once you start doing that, they have it easier to say, okay, you don't need a gun anymore. Because most people will agree. And then all of a sudden they have more control. Now, who is this they I'm talking about? Well, that's the difficult part. Because it's not just politicians. Earlier, pre-stream, you were talking about the NGOs. And this is true too. There are lots of people out there who want to control the masses. Project Fear is a tool to control the masses. Anyway, I need a fast bio break. I'll be right
okay.
back.
All right. While you do that, let me riff on that, on the fear of guns, right? So I believe that, I don't know, I may be wrong with this, but I think that mainly people are afraid of guns who don't own guns. You know, I can just say that I might have been afraid of guns as well, or even like a little bit freaked out about the prospect of, let's say, I've never been overseas. I've never been outside of Europe, but over the prospect of visiting America and knowing, hey, maybe every fourth person there has a gun, or maybe even more, you know, and you're kind of vulnerable because you don't have that, you know. So you wouldn't stand a chance, you know, if you were mugged by somebody at gunpoint. But the thing is that I wouldn't be afraid of having a gun or holding a gun or anything, much less so than, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago, because I often hold a very much more dangerous thing in my hand, and that's my chainsaw. A chainsaw and just riffing on the idea of fear of guns, right? Just for a minute there, while you were gone. A chainsaw and a chopping axe. These are very, very dangerous tools. They're extremely dangerous if you don't handle them right. And also a jigsaw, a simple jigsaw. It's a tiny little, it's not a big tool, you know. But you can rip your fingers off with this thing, you know. You have to treat it with respect, or a circular saw, you know. These are dangerous things. And I used to be afraid of the circular saw. You know, I'm a piano player, you know, I'm very, very afraid of like losing a finger or you're just cutting, you know. Yeah. And now I use it, I don't even think about it that much anymore, you know. And it's the same with the chainsaw. I love using this tool. And once you know how to handle this tool, this powerful tool, it's losing its fear, you know. There's obviously a respect that you have. You know, you have a respect, you know what the right end of such a tool is, you know. You want to be
shouldn't that be the way? Shouldn't that be the way with everything?
Yes.
I mean,
you don't want to be on the business end of a knife, of a chainsaw, or of a gun. You want to be on the other end.
I don't care about drugs. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to use drugs, by all means, go ahead. I don't care. But respect it. Don't abuse it. Have control. Now this is probably something to do with my upbringing, because when I was young, my parents didn't think twice about drinking alcohol. But being drunk, that's a bad sign. If you're drunk, that basically means you're a small child because you have no control over yourself. Yeah. It's not the alcohol that's the problem, it's your behavior. So yeah, and how dare you call my weapon military grade? They're way nicer than me. Well, the funny thing is that I don't really understand the difference between an AR and, well, that's not really true. I do understand the difference between an AR and any other platform. But if we look at, how do you call it? I forgot the name of the gun. It was a common gun in the First World War. It has a way bigger bullet. And it's a one-shot weapon. If you put a scope on it, you can use it as a sniper, but other than that, it's just another gun. It's way more destructive. But it's a single-shot weapon. I mean, the caliber is way bigger. But people don't care. People don't understand. Handguns, pistols are way more often used than rifles. A shotgun is way more devastating than rifles. But no one is talking about that. Everyone is talking about the AR. Why? Because that's what Project Fear is focusing on. And the funny thing is, the AR and sword-like guns are responsible for, as I said, about 300 to 400 deaths in America out of the 60,000 people that get killed by guns. Mm-hmm. But nobody talks about handguns or shotguns because it's not the Enfield. Thank you. And the Americans had the Garand. Now I remember.
I think what makes the handgun fairly a little bit problematic is that they're so portable. You know, it's very easy to carry,
Yeah.
and also it's easier to have an accident with it. You know, to shoot yourself or something.
True.
Uh, Not so easy to do that with a rifle. You know, a rifle is a
Well,
heavy thing. You basically use it as a tool when you need it. You know, when you need hunting or whatever, you need to get rid of the fox or whatever. You know,
but
that that to
if you
me is
look
a
at
tool. You know,
shootings, if you look at
yeah.
shootings, a handgun is far more likely to be used than a rifle.
It's easier.
It's easier. Everyone has one.
Much
You can
easier.
buy it. So, and this is, I mean,
But
this
it's
is
also I think it's harder to hit somebody to shoot somebody with a handgun. It's actually hard to actually really, or at least to kill them is hard because
well, it
it's not that
depends.
easy to.
Depends on the
Well,
caliber.
you can be lucky or unlucky. It depends on how you look at it. But it's like even for a policeman, it's hard to take somebody down with a gun.
Depends.
They're told to. It's part of the training. You unload the whole. You shoot 4 or 5 times just to be safe because you can't be sure. You know, you can't be sure that if you're under if you know it's him or me, you know, like let's say there's school shooting or something, then if in doubt, you just go for the body, you know. And I can understand that, you know, because you don't want to give them a chance, you know, to kill you or your colleagues, you know.
But
But
that's the whole thing. I mean, there are plenty of ways how you can get killed. Rifles are not the most common. Cars actually cause more death than guns.
yeah,
As I said, obesity, heart disease, cows. Apparently,
Cows?
Yeah,
crocodiles,
yeah, but they don't have a lot of crocodiles in America.
cows, crocodiles, and bees.
So, and this is all Project Fear. Now, I'm going to go to the last one, the UN Nation Environment Program, and you guys know how I think about it. But, and where was it? Now I have to look it up again.
UNEP, second one, the second tab on your browser.
Yeah, second. But there was something in here, and I can't seem to find the image that was with it a moment ago.
I'm behind again.
Yeah. You all see it. You can hear it, but everyone sees it about half a second later.
Same.
No, I can't find it now. It was one of these. Yeah,
A
no,
story.
I can't find it now. Fuck it, I'm going to ignore it for now. But yeah,
So
no,
that's UN Environment Program.
yeah.
I
But this
mean,
one too
are
was
they-
about, oh, be afraid, be very afraid. Oh, the world is changing. Oh, the weather is changing. Oh, everyone's going to die. Be very afraid. It's constantly.
I'm sure there must be. I wouldn't. There it is, emissions gap report. I mean, there must be a lot of climate change narratives on this page, right?
There are
They obviously
there are a
they
few.
stand, they stand to profit from it. UN. I mean, to me, UN is just a big business model that makes
It
money.
is. It is.
You
They,
know.
they now have more money to deal with refugees than they had ever before because they got so much money, and they actually decided that and yes, they decided it. It's really sickening that you can have refugees because of war, but they can also now have climate refugees. So you're allowed to leave your country for whatever reason because the weather isn't to your liking. No, that's unfair. No, there have to be dangerous climate events. But there haven't been dangerous climate events on ever. Oh, according to Toxic, you're right. Alligator attacks. Well, those are attacks. Are they alligator caused death? Toxic, do you know that? Because the
Who is
attacks.
we? Is that America or Utah? I'd say it's the whole of America. Is
It's
it?
probably the whole of America. I don't even know if they have.
Most of it in
alligators
Florida.
Utah.
Florida.
Florida would have them. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. But no, I mean, the United Nations now want to add climate refugees to the list of good reasons to flee. Oh, and if the international world will please give them more money so they can deal with the refugees. Wait a
I wonder if
second.
I could go. Could I go to Spain or something where it's warm? Because the winters are really shitty. I kind of flee this climate.
It's kind of funny because in Finland has a problem with its refugee immigrants. They don't want
Yeah.
to stay, it's too cold.
And the camels didn't want to stay either. Is it the ones that the comfort camels, the service animals?
Well, according to, I think it was I'm not sure now if it's a Swedish or a Finnish,
it was Finnish.
Politician who was like, well, rape is bad, but if you're being raped by an immigrant, that's not so bad.
That's Sweden.
I'm like,
So tolerant.
what the fuck?
What are you
I
looking
thought
for?
rape was the problem. It's not so much who done the raping, it's the fact that you're being raped. But yeah, no. Apparently not.
I need to get some food. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Something salty.
Yeah, I know that feeling. So, the thing is, we're constantly being pushed to fear something. And look at the whole story, because when they want you to be afraid, there usually is something they want to achieve. And what is it they want to achieve? They want to achieve control. I mean, this started back in the 70s. I think it's in the 70s. Nuclear power was growing. So what happened? There's a movie coming out, The China Syndrome, where a nuclear power plant explodes and everyone dies. And since then, everyone is terrified of nuclear power. Even though nuclear power is still one of the cleanest and safest energy forms we have. But yeah, it looks dramatic. No, but seriously, we had terrible disasters. We had 8 Mile Island, where no one died, by the way. But yeah, okay, that was bad. Yeah, but look at Chernobyl. Chernobyl was terrible, where a handful of people died. Not maybe 50 or something like that. It's less than that, if I'm not mistaken. But Chernobyl wasn't a failure of the nuclear plant. It was a failure of the whole testing of the plant, because they literally ignored all safety warnings and turned off all safety devices. And even after it went meltdown, still not the whole world died. And then Netflix has the audacity to make a series about it. And in that series they say, well, but if we couldn't have done this, well, then we would have had a megaton explosion so big that it would start in Ukraine, but people in Kiev, it started in Chernobyl, but people in Kiev would notice it. Yeah, that's simply not true. But hey, let's make you afraid. And now if we look at, because it's almost as if they're happy about it, Fukushima happened, which is terrible. Don't get me wrong, it's terrible. Yeah, lots of people died in Fukushima. Yes, lots of people died in Fukushima. Not because of the nuclear power plant. These people died because they got hit by a Richter scale 9 earthquake and a tsunami. How many people died because of the nuclear power plant? Well, we don't know, but it's probably not more than 10. And there was a second power plant that was also hit, because there are 2 Fukushima power plants, and I always forget the name. Daiichi and Naichi or something like that. Let me see if I can find it real fast. Yes, Daini and Daiichi. Sorry, that's the words. So there's the Daiichi power plant. This is the one that got hit by the water and the earthquake, and then it had a problem. And there's the Daini one, who got hit by the water and the earthquake, but they were able to create a cool down. So no problem at all. Sorry. So out of those 2 nuclear plants that both were hit, we never heard about Fukushima Daini. Diane? Diane. Yeah. Hey, where are you? I'm terrible with names. I know people. I'm sorry. I think Diane. Yeah, let's go with Diane. If I'm wrong, then you can blame me. But nobody was affected by the second plant. So everyone keeps talking about the first plant. Oh, nuclear powered. Oh, terrible. Okay. People are living in Chernobyl, by the way. Not in the city, obviously, because they're not allowed. But in the land around it, where they're also not allowed to live, people are living. Because why the hell not? So we are constantly being made to be afraid. And it's all about control. I mean, now we're talking about green energy. And out of all of the green energy, we never talk about nuclear. Because we're already afraid of that, so we don't have to worry about that. Everyone is afraid of nuclear. Nuclear is a problem. Okay, so what's a good solution then? Oh, well, we could go solar. We could go wind. Okay, but we have 117 wind turbine fires a year. And I'm not sure if that's globally. Yeah, no, it is. Which is not that big a deal, because one wind turbine is only good for about a few megawatts, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, but at the same time, it's happening a lot more than we think, and people actually die because of that. So there's a bigger money cost, a bigger health cost, and a bigger life cost in wind than there is in nuclear, even though in nuclear we had some major disasters. But they're only major disasters because that's what the story keeps telling us. Are you afraid yet? And there we have the man with the salt chips. Apparently we have elephant mosquitoes up north, so we may have a heap of Ross River fever pop up. Ross River? Not Nile? A few years ago in the Netherlands and in Europe, they were fearing us because the Nile virus was coming because of the mosquitoes. Can't remember if that actually happened, but they scared us for it. See, that's the thing, they constantly scare us. And there's always a narrative behind it. Buy this, vote for that, this is what you want to be around. The Holy Grail. I don't know that one. John, The Holy Grail wasn't a documentary. I know this is news. And yes, there are killer rabbits, but there's not a lot of them. Project Fear, mate. Project Fear. Don't be afraid.
The Holy Grenade of Antiochia.
Which will work as long as you count to 3. Not 4, and 5 is right out. Then you go there.
And count from the bottom. Start from 1.
Yes. Don't count till 2, but count till 3. So you can count 2, but then you have to go to 3.
7 is completely out of the question. The times.
So the thing is, we're constantly being pushed to fear. Now, being aware is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with being aware. Be aware that the Nile virus might happen. These are the symptoms. Treat it well as long as as soon as you find out. Be aware of the coronavirus. A good thing. If you have symptoms, treat it well. But that's not what they're doing. They're not talking about how to treat it well. They're talking about how to be afraid. And that's Project Fear. Be afraid. Yeah, but what am I afraid for? It doesn't matter as long as you're afraid. But I don't have a reason to be afraid. Yes, you do. Be afraid. And we keep buying it. But in the meantime, now we're all talking about the coronavirus. Can you remember when last you heard anything about the migrant crisis in Europe? Interesting, isn't it?
Well, we hear a bit now in Greece.
Well, yeah, because the Turkish are like, hey, wait a second, we want limelight too. Get us back into the limelight. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about Greece when we're talking about the refugee crisis, which is a terrible system, don't get me wrong. But we're not talking about the ones that still go to Spain, France, or Italy. There are lots of stories that are no longer being talked about. In America, it's kind of funny because they're talking about, call it beer illness. In America, they're talking about how the coronavirus and Trump is responsible for the coronavirus and the price of oil internationally. It has nothing to do with the fact that Russia and Saudi Arabia are at a tiff over oil at the moment. See, everything has to do with Trump nowadays. The coronavirus, Trump did it. Wait a second, how did Trump do that? I mean, how powerful do you guys think he is? So yeah, there is that. Don't diss the honey badgers. One channel calls it the honey badger virus. Okay. When we talk about the Greek situation, I heard that the Polish sent troops to defend the Greek border. More people should, let's be honest. But the European Union is once again talking about maybe buying off Turkey. Because last time when they gave Turkey €3.5 billion, that wasn't enough apparently, so now they want to give them more. And that always brings back to me the idea of Weergeld. I think it's a poem from... I think it's also from Rudyard Kipling, I don't know. Not going in there now. We could have Alison on the stream. Well, we could, I guess.
No, that wasn't. You misread that.
Oh, okay.
I just before this stream, I briefly saw Honey Badgers were live, and they had both Brian and Alison on camera, and they usually have these silly avatars, but I felt way more compelled to stay around. I didn't though because I was talking with Alicia, and that definitely took precedence, you know. But I think there's something to be said for having some faces on stream.
Yeah.
It's just more interesting.
Well,
it's one thing.
I'll think about it.
This was not an appel. Don't listen with your appel here, moderator. I'm not saying you should change anything. Just a personal observation, but it was one really famous film director who said that the most compelling thing that you could watch on what you could show on camera is the human face.
No, that's true though. It is true, and I know this is true. But yeah.
It doesn't have to be your face, you know. Go the AIU route, and he always shows faces of actors. I don't know how he doesn't get like kicked off for copyright infringement.
Do you know how often they try to kick his channel?
Yeah, but that's only for hate speech.
No. They really kicked his channel. I mean, I think he has 3 channels. And they're all 3 on again. So yeah, no. I mean, if they kick me, I'm probably not going to come back. That's me.
Don't give them ideas.
That's true. I still have a few other channels that I can run with, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not really active on them, but I have them. So yeah, no. This is my thing about Project Fear. I'm trying to come back to something that's basically more or less talked about. All I can say, people, if see if you don't agree, I love to hear it. But when people start talking to you about how you should be afraid of something and how it's going to affect your life, and this is the hard part of listening to the media, and this is hard part of doing research, I guess. Don't listen to what they tell you. Listen to what they're not telling you. Mm-hmm. Try to figure out what it is they're not telling you. Look at what they're being silent about. We don't hear a lot of France anymore. Why? Because, let's be honest, they're going into slightly working towards the second year of Yellow Vest protests.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, I didn't know that, but all right. Yeah, okay. They don't really talk much about the migrant crisis, even though Greece at this point in time is an issue. But people are talking about how people are being brought to the borders. People are not talking about that roughly a third of all the people that are being brought to the borders are Turkish. People are still pretending that these are people from Syria and maybe Afghanistan. But a third of them are Turkish.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Oh, wait a second. Yeah, really. That's the worst part. We've got people from Morocco in those groups. Morocco? Morocco has a civil war going on that nobody noticed? Well, no, not really. Then why do we have refugees from Morocco? Well, don't worry your little head over it. There's something seriously sick in our Western society, and Project Fear seems to be one of the major tools they use to force you into thinking in a certain way. Because if you think in a certain way, they can control you better. People are determined and they would rather the rest of the world didn't pay attention or support the local people. Well, yeah. That's basically it.
John, you're trying to teach your grandma suck eggs, Modwayne Aileron. It's funny.
Yes,
I haven't heard that one
Morocco
before.
isn't right next to Turkey, but there are some Moroccan refugees amongst the people coming from Turkey. So there's something really strange about the refugees coming from Turkey.
It's funny because we already have lots of Turkish people in Germany.
Oh yeah, I know. Angela Merkel wants them to come in more.
So
God
can they
knows
not?
why.
Can they not come over and visit their relatives?
Oh well, you think they don't want to stay?
Germany has kind of open borders anyway.
Yes,
just funny
which
that
is
you
the
have-
problem
But
Europe
we said
has.
before the-
No, of course they
Did we
can't
say it before
afford
the
it.
stream? Did we say it before the stream that there's no quarantine for German politicians traveling from China to Germany, but then they were complaining that they had to go to 2 weeks of quarantine to go back.
Yeah, funny how that
It's
goes.
kind of funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand China, but I don't understand Germany, you know? Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Yeah, you can
Well-
come. No problem.
In all fairness, it's not nice of me to say, but Germany is the cause of nearly all of the problems in Europe in the last, let's say, 120 years.
Really?
Really.
I don't know. I'm not a history buff, but I take your word for it.
And don't get me wrong, because when we say Germany, obviously we're not talking about the German people. But German politics is a mess. I mean, French politics is a mess too,
we
but
need our
that's,
Kaiser back.
I'd almost say
need
you're
a-
correct. I'd almost say you're correct. I mean, if we look at...
I could volunteer. Maybe I should volunteer. I got the beard already.
Yeah, but then you're still not... I mean, you'd be a Kaiser, but not the Kaiser.
No, I want to be the Kaiser. There's no
Alright, well, maybe.
Axel the first.
Well,
I'd be like Ludwig.
ludicrous. The French have their share of responsibility too, maybe, but the French problem stays mostly within their own country, except for the fishing issue with England. But on average, the French keep their shit indoors.
Except for the revolution and the guillotine. They're
Maybe.
using that on the Democrat T-shirts now, don't they?
Yeah, well, not all, but that's because Democrats are.
And the revolution traveled as far as Russia, and then, you know,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know
But
about France. Yeah.
that's more than 100 years ago, or more than 120 years ago.
Well, you just
I did say last 120 years.
yeah. You're
But
just like special pleading. What's so special about the last 120 years?
two
Anyway,
world wars and a massive migration issue.
yeah. What about the Great War though?
The
The
Great
hundred,
War was the First World War.
no, the 100-year war,
Which 100-year war?
the big one, the 100-year war. I don't know what it's called. The 100-jährige Krieg. I don't know.
Between whom?
I don't know.
See?
You're the history buff. I'm not
Yeah, but we're
supposed to be
talking
the
about
history
the
buff.
last 100 years, 120
Yeah, I
years.
know, but you
100
kind
year
of
war is a
take
little
very
bit
small
longer
view
away.
there, right? It's a
So-
very small view, though, in the grand scheme of things, right?
Not really, because it has. Listen, the 100-year war has less to do with our current society than the last century.
Yeah, that's you say that because we're so close to it.
And
The last
because it
century.
influences our day-to-day life. Those are the two things, yes.
You don't know. You don't know how the last 500 years influences our last. You know, you don't know that genetically there might be something. You know, there's people who say that migrancy is in the genes. Could be something genetic.
Yeah, that's.
Might not even be caused. Might not
never
even be
heard
caused
that, but
by,
that's
by
rubbish.
environment.
I never heard it, but that would be rubbish.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't say it. I can't dismiss that so quickly. You know, that
I
there's
can.
certain
No
like
problem
people.
with it. Considering,
Okay.
considering that most people, for the last 500-600 years, most people live and die in the country where they are born. And a large part of those people live and die in the geographical location where they are born, within 100 kilometers of the location they are born. I don't think
Right now.
migration. Sorry?
Right now, like this century.
Yeah, like that. No, the
Like,
century.
you go over a little bit bigger, like go over 1,000 years maybe.
Well, the longer back you go, the more people stayed in the same location.
Maybe, but I mean, there is this thing of there is local groups, but there's also migration there too.
But
Well, we're not
migration
just
migration of groups was based on war and being pushed away from your land.
All right. No such thing as the enterprise.
The enterprise.
Yeah, you know, to go where no one else has ever set foot before.
No, that's not true
That's sort
because
of
there were
migration, you know,
there were
explorative.
explorers.
What? Yeah,
There
that's
were
what I mean.
explorers, but there's a difference between explorers and colonization. Colonization, even in the era of colonization was rare. It wasn't the norm. Most people didn't go colonize. Most people stayed in their own location.
Yeah, I mean, you could go somewhere because your area turned to shit, you know. Let's say
Yeah.
it became a desert. So it's not
For
always
example, or there were wars, or I mean, there are reasons for people to leave their common
Or maybe your
area.
dietary habits have changed. You know, you could say, "Oh, I suddenly discovered fish, and that's a real rich source of protein. So let's become seafarers."
All
So
possible,
there is
but
all sorts of reasons, you
on
know.
average, people stayed within their local area. And that's still true for today, on average. But then there was this politician who said, you know what, if you want to come to Europe, come, we'll pay for it.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'll not name the
silly.
bloody cow. She should be hung and quartered. Probably.
Oh my god.
No, she should. She should. She has caused the biggest problem in Europe since the Second World War. And there's no one denying that. I mean, people don't like to admit it, but there is no denying it. Look at the mess we have in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's not because of immigration, because we had immigration for the longest time. It's unfettered immigration. It's open door policy, which has destroyed most Western countries, well, at least the economies. Italy is fucked. Greece is fucked.
Yeah.
Germany is fucked. Germany is the engine of the European economy. And they shot themselves in the foot. And you
More
were
like in the
right.
head.
You were right to name her Ludacris. But yeah, no,
No, it was John.
I'm curious to Toxic. I'm curious to see what will happen because I'm not, how do you call it, optimistic. Because the way things are going, Project Fear is doing overtime. You're not allowed to think, you're not allowed to speak out. And if you do, they'll find ways to silence you or make life hard on you. And why? Because reality bites these people. Hell, there is a TikTok video about some thought girl that dances around saying "Okay, boomer" or "Okay, liberal," and the "Okay, boomer" one she does with a Bernie shirt, and the "Okay, liberal" one she does with a Marx shirt, and you can buy her stuff, and you can support her on Patreon, and if you do, she'll send you a picture of her. And I'm like, you're talking about how capitalism is bad and communism is the way to go, and then you want people to buy your shit. I'm sorry. Merkel the childless. Yeah. I mean, can you still remember, Real Raven, that, what was it? Not the last election, but the one before that. When her party became the biggest one again, and they could... She was standing on a stage with other people of her party, and one of them had the audacity of waving a small German flag. And she told him to stop.
Oh yes, oh, that was so cringe. That was terrible.
How the fuck is that
Why?
possible? You're the politician of a country.
In Germany.
And you're telling your people not to wave their own flag. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, I mean,
how oikophobic can you be?
I think that night she should have just they should have just all what they call
She should have been shot.
resign. No,
Oh, okay,
no.
resign
They
too.
should have just,
Oh
what
my
it's
God.
called the Vertrauensfrage, the you know, impeachment. I don't know the German impeachment. It's called Vertrauensfrage.
Yeah.
Where you ask you basically ask the politician to ask
Prove to me
the
that you are a
the
politician.
parliament. You ask the parliament that whether you still want it, you know, and they can tell you no, fuck off, you know. Okay, let's have new. But I mean,
Well,
that's
yeah,
you
that
know,
should have happened. It didn't happen.
should have happened straight
But
away,
that
like
should have happened.
punishment.
Because
straight away.
how can you be the leader of a country and then berate people for showing the flag
the
of that
flag.
country in celebration?
But doesn't it remind you of some when the British left the European Parliament? That was so good. And when they all started to wave their little flags.
Yeah.
Oh, it's against the rules. It was fun.
Yeah.
Take your flags with you. That was great.
Yeah.
I love that. Especially in the lights of when they were trying to do the budget and didn't get anywhere. Oh, we're missing 11 billion or something. It's just like, oh my God, we're fucked now. You know, should have just played that the English flag waving again over and over and rub it in their faces. Yoo-hoo!
But that's
We
yeah,
got
but
that money now.
that's another thing. How can the European Union? I mean, they knew for years in advance
Oh yeah.
that the British would do everything they could
Extortionists.
to leave, and still they increase their budget needs. I'm sorry, but you have your own company, you have your own house, right? So if I'm telling you that I can 100% surely tell you, well, let's say it's 80% sure that next year your income will be a lot less. Are you going to try to stop your spending, or are you going to try to increase your spending? I didn't know that was such a difficult question. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't listen. I was just typing. So
If I'm going to tell you your income for the next year is going to be at 80% of what it is now, are you going
Yeah.
to stop your spending, or are you going to increase your spending?
I would stop. I would stop the
And what does
spending,
the
but I
EU
don't know.
do? The EU
Don't know what
increases
my
its
wife
spending. Well, yeah, there is that. Maybe that's the problem.
So the problem is that when you, and here's the problem. I mean, if you have, if you can spend money that you don't actually have, it's just some number somewhere, you know, on a bank, and it's just like some deal, some handshake. It's not really like that you have, you know, a couple of coins in a box somewhere. Then it's a lot easier to say, oh, I don't care, I don't have it, but I can just make it, you know, I can just make it appear by talking to people, you know, by taking up debts. It's so abstract. It's like it's so casual too, you know. Oh yeah, we're just gonna increase the debt, just like that. It's just like we don't care. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know your grandchildren, your children and your grandchildren will have to pay for it. They will have a lot worse time, or they might lose their houses or their land. We
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
How
but
casual can you be?
that's the thing.
Oh, the
They
chil-
don't care. And indeed, toxic threat to stockpile toilet paper. What the fuck are they thinking in England and in Australia? Buying toilet paper in bulk. So what? I mean, I can understand you buying, let's say,
Buy it
4
to sell
packs.
it. I saw on eBay there was one guy who sold it, or tried to get rid of it. Wasn't that on Anita's channels even? Like I think she shamed. She maybe on her Facebook she shared it. Some Australian trying to sell a big box of toilet paper for $500.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's total crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Well, but in fairness, it wasn't used yet. It was fresh.
I seen. I think it was on eBay. For 11,000, you can buy a pack of toilet paper and you get a
And a Jeep, a
yeah,
free
you
Jeep.
get a Mitsubishi,
Or you buy the Jeep for 11,000 and get a free pack of
pack of
toilet paper.
paper. That was
was
funny. That was funny. But yeah, I don't get these people.
I always show, I always sell the left shoe and you get the right one for free.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I've got shoes to sell, 50 each. 50 each, yeah, 50 each. But I only have. Well, you know what? I like you. You can have one, and then I'll give you the other one for free.
For free. Very good. Well, that's how they sell speakers. You know, near field monitors. They don't sell them by the pair. They have like the price by piece because they're so expensive. It's always disgusting. You know, you see the price and then, oh god, and now I have to actually multiply that by 2 and possibly also put 23% VAT on top.
Oops.
What is it?
Yeah, I just misclicked. But everything should be okay. Guys, if the
Buy a
stream
9
died
pack
for a
of toilet
second,
paper.
that's my fault.
Yeah.
Buy a 9-pack of toilet paper and get a free Corona.
Corona.
Yeah, but I don't understand the whole race to buy toilet paper. To be honest, I seriously I don't get it. Worst case scenario, you use an old towel and you wash it. And you know the funny thing about using old towel and washing them? You can use it again. I hope they will learn. The whole of Europe needs to learn because, in all fairness, the corona is in Europe. Now, the corona is everywhere, but it didn't get here by Chinese. Again, the first person that died in Italy from the coronavirus was an Afghan migrant. Refugee, whatever.
I almost thought you were gonna say an Afghan dog.
No, it wasn't a dog. It was a human.
Yeah.
I mean, might have been a bastard. I don't know him, but I wouldn't say it was a dog. Because they're full of shit. Nah, maybe.
God.
Anyway, so yeah, this is the whole concept of Project Fear. And why we should stop falling for it. Well, it sounds easier than it has to be done, I guess. Anything else we want to say?
No, no, not really. I had a busy week, but I got my new, like I said, I got my new recording machine, so I'll be a bit more productive. And yeah, there's gonna be a new song for my channel soon.
Okay.
Hellpop re-emerged out of the ether or the void. So we're gonna get at it again.
And Ludicrous, the tourist industry in Greece has been getting blow after blow since 2015. So yeah. Anyway, before I go offline, people, I want to ask you: do you like it that the chat is now in the stream itself? I'm curious what you think. Is it an upgrade? Is it better, or is it something you don't really care about? I am curious. You can already see it, Real Raven. What is it like? Is it good? Is it?
I think it's great. At least something's moving on screen. But I always like that with live streams, and especially when you have the full line, you're not just like 3 or 4 comments. You can kind of follow up on since we also interact with the chat. I think that's a welcome thing. It makes it a lot less abstract, the whole thing.
Well, I'm curious what the people in the chat think about it.
Oh, I want a suggestion. I probably will ignore it, but what will I name my new computer?
Computer?
Yeah. No, it
No.
needs a name on
That's
the network.
the name. Computer.
No. On the network, I need a my previous machine was Phoenix. This one's called Nisha. So I don't know. I thought maybe Odin or something.
No.
Okay.
That's
not
disrespectful.
Odin.
Not Odin. You could call it.
Okay,
Sleipnir.
well then I call it Zeus then. Oh.
Yeah, that's Greek. I don't care.
I thought it was disrespectful against my computer, Odin.
No, it's
But yeah,
disrespectful against Odin.
it cannot look into the future.
Listen,
Well, I'm
Odin
an
burns
atheist,
down
so-
the house of the mockers. You don't want to mock, or you'll be struck by lightning.
I will not call it Sisyphus.
Sisyphus.
Adele. Okay, Adele.
But
Bender.
if you don't want to call it if you don't want to call it Sisyphus,
That's the best one so far. Green Badger suggested Bender. That's a
but
great name.
if you don't want to call it Sisyphus, why don't you just call it Sissy then?
Nah, it reminds me of the Romy Schneider.
Teletran 1.
Teletran 1. Bender is cool though. That's a good idea.
I called my
Any
old
other-
computer Big Fat Desktop. Yeah, that's very transphobic of you, John. We can't have that.
Maybe I should call it
Fatphobic. Sorry, not transphobic. Fatphobic.
the monolith. No, what did they call the thing in 2001? Because it's kind of a big black slab. We'd call it big black slab. Sisyphus. No. Oh no, that's terrible. What have I done? Bender is kind of cool though. Hell 2020. Yeah, but that'll be so 2020 when it's 2021. Maybe hindsight 2020.
Well, well, there is that.
I still like Odin, It's powerful.
Well, in
It can
that
calculate.
Odin is not a good name for a computer.
Why? Cletus. Cletus. Auritus. Auritus.
Let me see.
Hedonism bot.
Hedonism bot. Well, you could call it men here.
Could call it Mad Fucker. Or Blender.
Yeah,
Because
Blender
I
is a
mixed them.
program.
Ah, that's true. So I'm mixing music on it. Q Colane. Oh, something really Irish.
You can call it megalith.
Megalith.
In the monolith tradition.
Megalith. That's interesting. The megalithic. Megalith. Like this? Megalit.
Mejalith.
Yeah, I've spelled it there in the chat.
Yeah.
Megalith.
It's monolith, but then mega.
Octolith. Pentalith.
Pentalith is
Daisy
8.
Duke.
It's a 12-core box, right?
Yeah. Underborg.
How is something with 12? I mean, Octo is 8.
I don't know, 12? Dodeca? I wouldn't know.
Let me see if I can find that.
Hepta. I know.
Dodecagon. Okay.
Dodeca. That's too long. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
But you can call it Dodegalith. No, that's just stupid. Never mind.
You like words that end with Liz.
Well, no, I mean, you guys were talking about monolith, which is big.
Yeah, I just thought of this black slab in 2001. It looks...
How about the master in caps?
The master. I'm gonna switch on the master now. I'm going to service my master. Guess I'm gonna do mastering on it, you know.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
Mastering. What means big rock? Oh, megalith means big rock. Okay. Baker's dozen -1. That'll be a 12 as well. Nah. We're getting into the contrived area now. It's getting no good.
Well, we had a few good ones.
Adele. Bender.
Jesus, so the Queen score is an apostle. That's not a bad one, actually.
I thought I'd call it Freddie Mercury or something.
Freddie Mercury? Why
Yeah.
not?
Just Freddie.
Let me try something.
Fred is kind of hilarious because it's always used as an example, and when a programmer tries to explain something, they use Fred, or when they need a name, it's Fred. I don't know why. I could call it "Fuck Me, Freddy."
You could.
Bran Van 3000. That's a good. Should maybe be a band name. Led Zeppelin. I could call it Led Zeppelin.
You're close to Donegal, weren't you?
Not me.
Oh,
That's a lot.
okay.
I'm more south. I'm Galway.
Galway, close to Galway. Let's see. Let's see. Is this interesting? Well, you could call it Clegan.
Sounds like a place name.
It is.
I know what I call it. Loch Lang.
Why would you call it like a lake? I thought the whole idea was monolith, like big slab of stone.
I know, but I like the Loch idea because it's like the German word for hole is Loch too,
Yes.
like a black hole. Oh yeah, Loch Duff. Loch Duff. Is that would that be the same?
That would be funny, actually.
No, that's great. Lud, is that ludicrous? Is that the same as black hole in Irish? Loch Duff. You know, because there's the Roisin Duff, which is the black rose. I don't know how to spell that though. Lud, help me out here. But that would be kind of cool. It's a black hole, Loch Duff. The Black Lake. I like it. Also, it looks like cough, cough.
Gesundheit.
Cough, cough. I'm gonna work on locked off. It's great because nobody will know how to spell that. I'm completely hacker proof. Duff, all right, that's how you spell it. Okay, I see. I'm very bad with Irish spellings. I think they were invented by the English to make it harder for them to get into writing. You know, Lock Duff. I like it.
No, you can call it Labduff then.
That sounds great.
Or you can call it Modwayne. It's a cool name.
It is a cool name. But I don't want to switch you on every day.
Okay, that sounds understandable.
Duff. Doch is pronounced Dothy, Dothot. See, I don't get the Irish spelling. I think it's highly schizophrenic. It's just really weird. They have all these silent letters. They have this thing called father. I don't even know what it is. Isn't that Dochy? Dochy? Dochy. Dochy. That's a male name, Dochy. And is that how you
Doogie.
spell that? Doggy. Dochy.
Is it a Doogie?
Well, the Irish one is Dochy.
Oh. Well, my brother has lots of doggies.
Not doggy, Dochy.
Oh, okay.
Dochy.
Well.
I don't know how to spell it, but I know what it sounds like. Maybe I should call the computer Omadon. That's a album title from Mike Oldfield, and it also means idiot.
Okay. I'll have to take your word on that one.
Dahi, Doch is Dahi. That's Dahi. That's how you spell Dahi. Dathi. It's a wonderland. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go with Lockdach. It's the next best thing to Bender. It's not like it's just it just came to me that I needed to name it because I will have to register activate all my audio plugins, and they need a computer name for that. So I'll give them something really.
I don't even know what my computer name is. I don't even think I've said it. Maybe I have. I don't
Well,
know.
then it's probably something boring, like Dell 12345 or something like that. It's usually when they're done by the computer manufacturers, they're usually terrible. They sound like something that's in a company, an office somewhere, behind a partition wall.
Oh, actually, I did name this one. Device name is Modwayne. There you go.
All right, so you actually, so that would be me naming my computer Axel, which I certainly never will do.
Well, I have to give it a name. No, I
Yeah,
don't.
but
I
not
don't care.
my own name.
I don't care. When do I ever need this information?
You only need it when you look on. If you have a network, I have a network in my.
Yeah, I
Like an
do too.
Ethernet network with
But
a lot
everything
of.
Everything is turned on in the network anyway, and the whole network is cabled. So
Yeah, but like if you look for something, let's say with your mobile phone, a shared folder.
I don't know. No. No shared shit. No back doors, no openings. I don't want that. I don't like that. Anywho, I already said we're going to call it quits. I have the backup I needed. The feedback I needed on the chat inside.
All right.
So that's good.
So you're saying you have a local network, but you're not listening to MP3s that are stored on your NAS server.
I don't have a NAS yet.
Ah, all right. You're just a little bit behind the curve. That's okay.
A NAS will come. A NAS will come, but then it will still be only local area.
Of course, local area. What else is there?
Then it won't be logging into my.
There's nothing else.
There won't be logging in on my NAS from the internet.
Of course not. Why would they?
Yeah,
That's what you have a firewall for. I don't want anybody from the outside on my network.
Yes, well, when I say anybody, I mean including myself.
Of course not. Why? There's no need for that.
Oh, that's the point.
I don't want that. I don't want that either.
So the names of my machines don't really care much to me.
The only thing I do is I might do backups into the internet, like push them out, but not like access remotely. That's too dangerous.
John,
Because
get your
I can
mind
do
out
it.
of the gutter. Anyway, good people,
I
this
said
is
I
what
want
I'm
no backdoor, John.
Yeah. Use a lossless coding. Okay. Anyway,
No.
I'm going to call it quits for tonight. I'd like to thank you all for coming. I'm not 100% sure if next Saturday there will be a stream because I have to go somewhere and I might not be back in time. So if not next Saturday, I'll see you next Wednesday. And I'd like to thank you all for coming. Any last words you want to share with the people, Real Raven?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and look out for my new song. It's probably 2 weeks, and then it's gonna be a great one.
Okay.
Taylor Swift again.
And with that, I'm going to end the stream and I'm going to say goodbye for the last time. Goodbye for the last time.